Hi, we're waiting for our guest. Oh, hi, Julie. Are you using your corporate account, right? So I'm going to invite you from the job hub. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey,
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right, doing great. Well, how about yourself?
Yeah, all good, all good. I'm glad I finally got on. I was panicking because I didn't receive anything. I was like, what is happening?
Is that your first time ever doing this stream on Instagram?
On Instagram, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
usually Zoom.
yeah, see, I wanted to take it to Zoom, but I decided that since it's easier for my audience to tune in here, I just stick to Instagram for now. I think I will up it a notch as I kind of do it more and more time.
No,
But
that's
overall,
cool. It's a learning curve for me. So yeah, it's my first Instagram live, so that's good.
yeah, yeah. My I think my third, and every single one of them have I mean, yeah, everyone become better than the preceding one, so definitely something that speaks to, I don't know, our experience doing this thing.
Yeah,
Although
absolutely.
although you cannot hear my entire face talking of experience now, yeah, now it's better. Yeah. All right. Julie, let's chit chat before we have. I don't know if it's the best time for my followers to join because it's actually middle of the day of Monday.
Oh,
But
right.
yeah, so but don't be kind of concerned about the number of people who's watching because in the moment because we'll definitely get the vast the amount later as they will check the recording. All
That's
right.
okay. We've got one viewer, so if we can give that one viewer a little bit
Yeah.
of nugget of knowledge, then my job's done.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know this. I think this is something that you can testify to, as since you work with uh, networks. Well, like networking is basically a part of your life, right? From what I understand, we'll get to this a bit later, but it seems like we as well, I'm not sure if you do this like I am, but since I started being like a blogger, this addiction to number of people has really played a bad joke with me, you know. you
Has
kind of
it?
you kind of get addicted to not like if you don't have a lot of watch viewers at the moment, you think like you're doing
Um,
something wrong, you know. And this kind of this so whole dopamine thing that feeds you really is not good for us.
Absolutely. But the key is always to be consistent. So if you keep showing up, then your audience will keep showing up and it will grow.
Consistency over intensity.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, always keep giving consistency, good content, and you'll grow your followers.
Would you mind to tell us about yourself? Since I'm helping people to perfect their elevator pitches, maybe you can give your elevator pitch.
Okay. So I am an entrepreneur. I've been in business for many years, and prior to Job Hop, so at the moment, my main business is a platform called jobhop.co.uk, and it's primarily for digital talent, and we're connecting great talent with employers here in the UK. And I deliver lots of training on company culture and keeping employees, retaining employees, attracting employees, employer brands, building your employer brand ambassadors. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, and I deliver lots of training. Prior to that, I've had other businesses. So I have been a bit of a serial entrepreneur, but I have stuck at this one. So I had two businesses before, which I sold, And this business I'm in at the moment, I haven't been sort of tempted by the another little shiny object. So I'm still focused on this business at the moment, and I love it.
But the ones that you had, have they really kind of took you to the place where you have they taken you to the place where you're right now? Or you know how Steve Jobs always said, I mean, in his famous speech, he said that you can't connect dots looking forward, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. Did your dots connect in a way that you're in the perfect spot for now? Do you feel like it's the perfect spot for a perfect match?
Well, I'm not in the perfect spot.
Okay.
I'm in a good
In a good,
spot, but
good.
yes, and I think you know, every day there's progress. So you make progress towards your goals. And my previous businesses, uh, yes, definitely, that they all led to this business. So my first business, I had no idea really about running teams and having employees. So that gave me a lot of knowledge in having a team around me. And literally, I had no mentor. I read everything from books.
Yeah.
So I was like reading these books thinking, oh, this is how you run a business.
Yeah.
A lot of it I got completely wrong. And then I moved on to my next business with more knowledge and understanding. And that business really was the sort of entry to my third business, because in my last business, I was looking for a particular person to work in that organization, and I couldn't find them through the normal channels. So I went online. So this was in the early days of social media.
Oh.
I went, yeah, really early. And I went online and started looking at profiles online. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. So I can tap into people's profiles, find out more about them,
Are we
build
talking
a real.
about LinkedIn in specific? No?
This was literally when LinkedIn had just come to the UK, so 2007. So LinkedIn wasn't really a platform that people really knew about. They knew of, but I don't think people were really using it. So there was another platform at the time which isn't in existence anymore, and I was using that platform, and I was tapping into people from there, and that's what gave me the idea of Job Hop. So it was, you know, that was the stepping stone into Job Hop.
It's interesting because as I'm listening to you, I kind of can't help but draw parallels with my life. Even, but actually, in this case, we have quite an opposite sort of thing, because I actually pivoted from a corporate world, from the place where I had to manage people, where I had to have all the answers as a founder, and I didn't kind of gradually, organically grow into the business owner. I was kind of living this dream of a startupper who was able to get money from an investor, and we learned the ropes of business from our investors. And that was such a stressful experience. I mean, it was an experience of a lifetime, but that was so stressful. And you know how investors go, they actually don't care about anything except for revenue. And
Yeah.
always it came at expense of our relationship with people, uh, trust, and toxicity, everything of this nature. And thus, when I hear you saying that actually you first started, like, you didn't say it verbatim, but it seems like you started like a solopreneur more, right? And then gradually you transitioned and built up to working with people, basically leading them. How do you, what's your approach for managing people in general? Can you share in your experience?
Well, when I first started my first business, as I said, I had no idea, and I made many mistakes. I hired wrong. However, I did have a good team, but I did make some wrong hires
Mm,
because I think a lot of the time I was in that desperate mode where I needed to have people
yeah,
to work for me.
but
So I
whatever
went,
means. You just need
so I hired many people that were wrong for the culture of the
but to
business
fill the gaps, just to
to
fill the
fill the
gaps.
gaps.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was firefighting. I was like, must have somebody, anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I made a lot of mistakes there. And also, as I said to you, I was reading a lot from books, and some of the books was reading were very old books. So they had a very, not like today's feel with how you would run an organization, where you would have an open door policy where your employees could come in and chat to you, where company culture should be one of your main priorities. I mean, today you should be looking after mental health as well as, you know, their physical health, and making sure you're giving good training and benefits. But when I started years and years and years ago, there wasn't any of that. It was just literally a few books, and it was very old style of leadership. So when I when I had to address a team member, it would be in a closed office because we never had the open door policy, and then I would stand and make them sit.
Yeah.
And one day, one of my employees went, "I'm not sitting down, I'm standing with you." And that put me like, you know, what? That didn't happen in the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sort of threw me. And then afterwards, I then started to learn that, hold on, I have my own style of leadership, and there are certain things that I shouldn't be following in the book. So yeah, so there was a lot of learning, but and there still is. There's loads and loads of learning. So hopefully, I'm making progress every day.
And as I understand it, you on not only implement these leadership style in your organization, you also share this knowledge and do sort of a training for companies who need to aid their culture, organizational culture. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, I mean,
How does it
many.
happen?
Well,
I
there'll
was
be.
always been interesting if organizations are willing to uh, accept defeat. Like, you know, like an outsider comes over and says what you guys have to do. I mean, is it even an easy like environment to work with? Because I'm actually I think I'm going to be doing this as the time passes in a short while, because I feel like I have my share of experience that I can and my techniques that I can share. But I mean, in general, maybe of course our countries are so different, but people in general are likewise everywhere. So when you come to an organization, are they accepting you with open arms, you know, and warm hearts, or is it always kind of a battlefield for you?
Well, that's a good question. So, what tends to happen, you would have an organization that has been stuck in their ways for a very long time. And maybe this organization doesn't like change.
Who
They,
likes, yeah?
however, they understand that they must make some changes to be able to attract talent, retain talent, and also keep up with the competition. So, reluctantly, there are many businesses that drag their feet into this. There are, though, sometimes the younger generation of leaders come into the work environment, and see that the company culture needs to be changed, and they are the ones that really want it to happen. However, you still have this hierarchy, so you have them probably here trying to advise the ones at the top that change needs to happen bottom up.
Yeah.
So so again, there's a lot of
Controversy
trying
or
trying to join everybody, trying to get everybody to communicate, and trying to get the naysayers on board. But then you have other organizations where completely want to embrace everything. So perhaps perhaps they've taken over an organization that they can see that the company culture is bad, and perhaps they need to change that company culture. So they want our team to go in and help them with that. So they're fully embracing that. So there's many different ways, but there are so many companies that really don't like change, have done it in their way for many years, and can't see what's wrong with that. However, they understand that something has to happen, but they're still reluctant about it.
well, confirmation bias. And but when you come to, first of all, it's a matter of who you're talking to, because what in my experience trying to work with corporate clients, with enterprise clients, when you actually get in touch with the founder, it makes it so much easier to sprinkle it from upside down than to get it from HR to like in a different, in this opposite direction. And I think this is an approach. And plus, when you speak, when you use a business context, such as, do you want to attract more talent? That also helps a lot, right? Because you know what you can bring to the table. You can bring, or do you work? Do you help internal organizational culture, or do you help to? Because I understand that invariably, like, organizational culture will result into more quality hires, right? But what's your base product? What do you offer? How do you position this?
So, if a company culture is bad or not very good, then there's no point in that organization going out and saying how great it is to work there, advertising for talent, when their company culture is pretty rubbish and their employees are saying something completely different to what their message is. So
Okay.
that has to be looked at, and that has to be addressed. If the company culture is good, then perhaps some tweaks need to be made, because they don't understand how to attract talent. It may be the case that they're not shouting enough. So we look at employer brand ambassadors within the organization. So perhaps they've got many people who absolutely love working there, but they're not really sort of telling everybody about it, because to attract talent, it's better if it comes from the employees themselves
100%.
than an advert saying, we're great to work for. So if the employees are saying, oh, it's brilliant working here, the training's great, the benefits are great, I've got a great career progress here. So if all those messages are coming from the employees themselves, that is going to help the organization to attract talent. So we need to put in channels for those messages to be distributed and heard by the audience that they're trying to attract, those candidates.
And this is what you seemingly call social recruiting. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so social recruiting. So we're using the many different channels to put those messages on, and building those in employer brand ambassadors to actually go out and share those messages. Now, you can't force anybody to go out and share those messages, so you just encourage them to share those messages. And then also recruitment marketing, so just showing organizations how the marketing department can also not just create marketing to attract customers, but also to attract candidates. And we try so hard to also get the message across that if they can build community, so don't think about, I need somebody now. Think about, we could be needing somebody in 6 months. So say like an organization needs web developers. We could be needing web developers in 6 months. Let's start chatting to web developers now. And then when the time comes, we've already built those relationships up with web developers, and we can have an open day, a recruitment day, and we can invite them, or just invite them onto a webinar to find out more about us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes a ton of sense. And, it's such a holistic, and such a thoughtful approach to the HR in general that I think that a little to no companies in my country approach this way. So, and I think what you're talking about is correlate a lot with leadership studies that I'm a big fan of, and I think that culture, and because obviously you not once you said bad culture and good culture, so it seems like you have a pretty clear definition for a bad culture and a good culture. Can you please sound them up?
Well, a good culture is always defined by your employees. Well, your bad culture is as well. So if your employees are saying, oh, it's great to work here, I love the work environment, I've been here for a while because I don't have to look outside for career progression. It's not just, a lot of people think, well, what I'll do is keep them happy. We'll put some table tennis in and some nice big cushions. It's so much more. It's so much more than that. It's about as well the mission. So every employee who walks through that door should know exactly what the mission is that they're working on. And it's so many times I've spoken to staff when I've gone into organisations and said, so why do you come here every day? And they go, I don't know, money?
Yeah.
They don't know what mission they're
Julie,
on. So
see, this is what I've been preaching. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's
because
fine.
it's really what I've been preaching, for the last years, to have this purpose. And it's still considered to be, sort of romantic and kind of corny thing to, what we exist to do, what, to change the world. It's too broad, but money is just the fuel for our vehicle to move right towards our goal. Basically, it's not the sole purpose, but we're going somewhere, right? And do you think that if every single employee knows what is the purpose, what is the why, in Simon Sinek's terms, what is the why or of the organization, do you think that makes it a good culture where everyone understands the very clear, simplified idea why in the world do they exist, even if it's like I don't know, reducing waste or doing something for ecology? You think, is this something that we should incorporate in our hiring practices all over the world?
Absolutely. Because if your employees understand what it is that they're doing and why they are doing it, then they're going to be more engaged with that. So it could be a tiny little, I don't know, say like a little cog. They have to make all these little cogs. A lot of people will be thinking, oh, we just make cogs. However, that little cog goes into something bigger, which then goes into something bigger, which is part of a rocket that is research for Mars. So at the end of the day, that little cog is
Yeah.
so much more, that they are contributing to something that's researching a planet that we could all eventually move to. So that's the mission. I know that's like a,
Yeah,
that's just on the top of my head. But if
it
everybody
makes sense,
understood,
especially when you see the result. If you, I think Richard Branson is one of the best examples, right, of great leaders who says that people are like flowers. If you just water them, they're gonna flourish, and so like, and but this is a great point that you're making. By every little contribution, if you show people how the small input contributes into something bigger. But you see, it also depends on what kind of people we attract. So I still believe that number one driving factor for people is money. And can we agree on this? Maybe it's not, it might be in my country it's like that for now, but not sure if in the UK money is still number one factor for people to choose this or that job.
well, I do know many people that have chosen company culture over money. I do know many people that have taken a drop in their salary from their current employer because they've wanted better career progression, or they were in a toxic work environment and they wanted to get out for a better employer. I know people that have a target in their mind that is the employer of choice for them, and they will do anything to work for that employer.
That's the best. That's like something that I would, because I have these trainings with folks who I prepare to get to pass a job interview, and the first question I ask them is like, do you really want this job? Why do you want this job? Because there is a misalignment. Like if he gets a job even at the salary that he likes, what, he's going to become a hostage of this job because he won't be able to leave because of the salary, and but at the same time he will not feel fulfilled and satisfied at the end of the day. So that, I think this is a big mission that people like us have to kind of live up to help people to understand. And it's actually not so easy to understand what you want. Some people, for example, I told you that I built a business and I always was driven by this fancy idea, this fancy entrepreneurial story, fairy tale, and I actually put myself in the position to become like one of, like, I don't know how many hundreds or thousand cases that succeeded, and I actually had my experience working with investors. We started in the garage basically. It's like just this American romanticized, even, but it wasn't in America but in Ukraine, but makes it even harder for this matter. But again, it looked from the outside that I was so accomplished, and successful, while I remember distinctly how I came from work every single day, and even when I entered the office, I felt the tension, and I felt like I didn't want to be there because I was pretending to be someone I was not. We were told to know all the answers, and this is not inherently my philosophy. I'm okay showing vulnerability. I'm okay showing that I don't know answers, and I was put in the position where I had to know all the answers, and that was so stressful. Yeah, from that point forward, like after I left, I felt it was a blessing in disguise, because I was actually helped to leave. My co-founder and investors, they kind of helped me leave, and that was traumatic, hurtful experience. At the same time, I realized it was everything happened for the best in our life, and now I'm like in this journey of solopreneur. And again, I have one assistant who I actually practice leadership with. I believe that it's you better master this science on one person, take care of him before you get more and more people on board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to people going to new jobs, they're not just looking at the salary. They are looking at so much more. And even today, many companies have to think, especially with the younger generation, they have to think about what their corporate social responsibilities are, how ethical they are, because research shows that the younger generation really do want to work for organizations that think about either the community or the planet, or doing something in a way to make a change. So yeah, I mean, there's if you take somebody who is just focused on salary and they go and get that salary, but working for an unethical organization, then that could make them very, very unhappy. So it's so much more than salary. You have to look at the whole package.
What can I ask you a tricky question? Like, what is this website that you have possess as a USP, as a unique selling point that differentiate you guys from other similar platforms?
So jobhop.co.uk it's a UK platform. So I have this passion about keeping talents within the UK, because other countries are always like looking at our talents and wanting to take them. So we try to keep them in the UK, but also it's about building communities. So trying to get employers and hiring teams just to think differently about hiring. Don't wait till the last minute. Build up those communities now. So when the time comes for you to hire, cherry pick. You can then go in and say, right, these are the people we'd like to invite onto a webinar. These are the people we'd like to come along for a recruitment day. So when we first started Job Hop, I didn't even have a job board on there, because I was adamant there wouldn't be a job board, because I just wanted it all to be focused on communities. However, I think we were thinking way too ahead, because research come back that everybody was looking for a job board. So in the end, I had to put, say like, let's put a job board on there. But for us, it's really about building communities. So candidates can connect with employers or hiring teams, find out about those companies, find out about what it's like to work there. They may not be actively looking, and most people are not actively looking, they're passively looking. They're probably somewhere else thinking, I wonder what it's like over there, and they're just having a look. But making those connections. So yeah, and as I said, it started off primarily for digital talent. However, that has evolved. So we do have many other types of candidates on there, but it started off with this vision that it would be digital talent, SEO, web developers, social media, online marketeers, e-commerce, all of that. But that has grown as well. So we have different industries, or people working in different industries now, that are looking to job hop. And you may think, the name Job Hop, but Job Hop means so much, because when we first started and I said it would be called Job Hop, a lot of people said, oh, well, that's not very good, is it? Because job hoppers, you really want people to stay for a very long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a job like job security. And I knew then that fast forward a few years, that would not be the case. That if you do not give these great people in your team what they need to grow and develop, then they will look elsewhere for it. And this is what's happening now. People will job hop every 2 years up the career ladder, or for better benefits, or for a better company culture. And research just come back. I can't remember. I think it was about 65%. Research come back that 65% of white-collared professionals currently in the UK are looking to job hop, and they put it down to toxic workplace. So still, still there are many, many workplaces, work environments that are toxic, and they're not understanding how to change that culture, or how to retain employees, and they're definitely not going to attract candidates, not at all.
Are from your words, it looks like I can, as an employee, as an applicant, I can join this board, and I can kind of find one of the threads dedicated to a specific community, and community is pretty much consisting of people who either work or have worked in a particular company, right? And
yeah,
and you
so
can
you don't
find the
need to be
reviews.
you don't need to be an active you don't need to be an active job seeker. You can just go on there, create a profile, and then tap into companies, find out more about how those companies operate, join the communities of the companies of started communities, chat to other employees, because as I said to you earlier, the employees are the ones who are your employer brand, and if they can spread a great message for you, then you don't need to spend out on advertising, because they're doing all the work for you.
Well, I 100% agree that our best advertisers are our, this NPS, Net Promote Score, and people who are your, if you ask people, I think we measured this NPS in my previous company, and we would ask people how likely are you to recommend this to your friend,
Mm-hmm.
and those who put 9 and 10 are your promoters. Those are your golden customers. And pretty much we all, if we were living in the perfect world, our best buying customers would be local. Unfortunately, this is not the case. Well, I mean, and I see how you pinpointed that good culture requires people to talk about you, and here you also say that HR brand needs to, and HR people need to talk about themselves. But how do you make people talk? Like, does it happen organically? Haven't you? It seems to be almost unrealistic that you haven't stumbled upon a lot of issues when you at least maybe started and needed the first, how would you say, can we call them, ringers maybe, or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. So you can't make anybody.
Yeah.
You
You go
you
say something good about me, or it's
no, yeah,
not sincere. Yeah.
definitely, yeah. What you need to do first is find out who is actually saying great stuff about working at your organization, because if you believe you have a good company culture, then you've probably got some people there that also believe that it's a great place to work. So just finding, start off with one person, two people. By the time you get to three people, that's when it starts to
Okay. We need
snowball.
some critical mass, yeah,
Yes,
to start to snowball.
definitely. But, to start off with, you do have that conversation. You do have to have a chat with them and say, look, I know you've been here a while, and I believe you really do enjoy working here. How about if we make you a employer brand ambassador? So, they're going to be the ambassador for the organization. And if there's anything great that you're saying, then please do share it with us so we can share it. And I always recommend that employers create like a Dropbox folder so they can put pictures, etc., content into that folder. So if any of the employer brand ambassadors, or if you just got one, wants to share it, again, you can't force them. If they want to share it, then they'll share it. But also encourage your employer brand ambassadors to take photos, to do live streams, to do walk around tours, to talk about their work environment, interview them with a day in the life, or follow them round their departments and ask them questions. And, you know, it's all these snippets of content that can be used across the platforms to attract talent into your organization. But the more it comes directly from the employee is where the worth is. That's where the good worth
Unsolicited,
is.
well, uncalled, and so, and in equally, and I mean, the most sincere. But I think why I'm asking this, why I'm smiling as I'm listening to your answer, is that I actually put it on my rails of social media, because I have these loyal followers that my best sort of followers, and maybe I haven't facilitated them with opportunities to speak up. Maybe I can just get on the call, like a stream with one of them, and maybe they will organically attract more people by just talking to me, and by me showcasing this. This will also kind of push the envelope forward,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I still haven't figured this out with social media. I've been doing this for 9 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been posting a lot of content, just a lot of content, and haven't gotten anything. I haven't more monetized my content strategy, even not strategy, but when my content, I don't know, just endeavor, whatever. And it feels to me that it shouldn't be that way, but I think it's always a matter of where. Maybe you can give me like advice. Where should I stop just uh, giving stuff for free? Can I should I start, like, monetizing? Is that something that you think you can answer? Maybe looking into your experience. I don't know.
So I would say, first of all, try and bring your community into taking ownership of what it is that you do. So by that, I mean, let's say create a poll. Create a
Mhm.
poll. What is it that they really do need a solution for? So you could create a poll where they've got three choices. So if they all say, look, we need a solution on how to price properly, or we need a solution on how to reach more people, or a marketing solution, then you know that that's their pain, and you can then create a whole live Instagram or podcast or whatever it is around that.
Yeah.
How to monetize? Okay, so there's lots of ways. So with regards to your content that you are delivering, you could then, I mean, never ever stop giving away free knowledge, never,
Yeah.
because that's what will hook your listeners, your viewers, and help them to tell others,
Yeah,
like,
I've I've
oh,
I've
you know,
I've
this
been
is
I've been doing this for like 6 months, like every single day, and I've been
every
idle
single
for a week
day.
now.
Mm.
For a week, and it feels like a burden has fallen off my shoulders. not a bad burden. I enjoyed this, but it feels like I'm in a position just to take care more of myself, you know. But in a way, I feel like I'm betraying people who got accustomed to, you know, to getting new information from me.
Yes.
So I'm on the fence here. Like, how do
Hmm.
I stay loyal? How do I not? You know, it's funny because
Yeah, but
these are
you can
expectations I set
ask
for
them.
myself.
So
Not, yeah.
say to them, you can say to them, look, I'm going to create a course. What would you like a course about? So all those people then that would come to you and say, God, would really like a course about marketing, um, um, business planning, or whatever the course is, then you've got like many people on a list already that have just said to you that they want a course on that particular topic. Then you can create a course, and
What
you've
if
got.
my responders are not vocal at all? I've tried it, and it's like, yeah. Here's an interest. I think that you're competent to answer. Like, why people are not vocal? Is that because they are not engaged, and I fall short on engaging them, just like HR brand can fall short on engaging their employees? Or why are people just looking and not participating in no way?
So I think a lot of people just like to watch,
Yeah,
just like to sit on the sideline, just like to make notes.
yeah,
So it's up to you to then try to engage them by
yeah.
asking questions, by you know, people are watching now. We've got 6 people who are watching. If you're enjoying this, please do
Yes,
give us
please
a
do
thumbs up.
likes. Yeah, make
Ask
it more
people,
about people, not about ourselves. It's a giver's
ask them
mentality.
if do they have a question that they want to
Yeah, guys, if
ask.
you have any questions,
Yeah,
feel free. We have 10, 15 more minutes.
definitely
So,
ask if they have any questions, or perhaps it could be the case that they have an idea of their next topic or your next topic and what it should be. So
you see,
perhaps, you know.
Julie, I once asked one business person, a successful entrepreneur in Ukraine. He actually built the first neo bank, first digital bank, the most
Wow.
successful bank in Ukraine called Mona Bank, and they also started, uh, and they also launched a bank, affiliate bank in the UK. It's called Koto in
Oh,
the
right.
UK. Yeah, and I was actually I saw him somewhere. I never had any problems approaching people that I admire. That's actually partly the reason that I kind of attribute my success to, right? Because I think this is what people should understand, that you can approach anyone at every given moment, and by knowing what something about the person, you can always have the chance to build some kind of a connection,
Hmm.
or at least get a response to your question. So I asked him, "Hey, Dmitry, do is the number one factor for you to make decisions um, on the development of your business or releasing a new feature, whatever it might be, is questioning your customers?" He said, "Not at all, not at all. It's one off many." And I think that if I ask, it's like it's just one puzzle, one piece
Hmm.
of the puzzle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah,
Plus,
I think
do we know what we want as people? I think we kind of have the pain, but we let entrepreneurs decide how they're going to fill the void, right? Airbnb, no one ever, like, or Henry Ford, he
mhm.
famously said that if I asked people what they wanted, they said they would prefer a faster
Horse.
horse. Yeah. So I mean, but it's easier said than
Yeah.
done, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, just,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you can come up with that idea that everybody goes, wow, I don't know how we've lived without that, well, then that's great. Um, However, you know, sometimes you just have to find out what it is that everybody needs a solution for.
and
So
that's where what worked for you, right? You're talking about your own experience. It worked for you. You ask people, they tell you.
It was my pain, yes. So in my last business, I wasn't getting the answer that I wanted or the result that I wanted. So I decided to create something myself and do that myself. So yeah, so literally, yeah, I think most people do have a pain. And probably when you look at Airbnb, there was a pain there because I think, perhaps many people didn't have the money to stay at hotels. So perhaps they have cured a pain there. They've also cured a pain where they've given other people income streams, which they never thought of having before. They've given them an extra income stream by renting their properties out to holiday makers. So they have solved pains, but perhaps not in the most traditional sort of way by just going out there and asking, hey, everybody, what's your pain? However, what do we know? Perhaps they did do loads of polls and surveys. I've never done any research into Airbnb. All I
They
do know,
definitely took a lot of iterations, and it was the first version was the shitty first draft was just the courage that every a successful entrepreneur must have is to come to the market with a shitty first draft and be okay with people seeing it and saying that, hey, that's shit. But they're gonna give you this valuable information how to iterate.
yes.
And then you iterate, and basically basically in a way I'm answering my own question where if I come up with some sort of a course like communication, I'm thinking of communication course for business presenting, stuff like this. Maybe I just do the most minimal viable product, that will either get a good response or not get good response. But I don't ever stop. I have to treat it as something, and we as entrepreneurs should treat our first attempt as this is first pancake.
Yes,
always gonna. Yeah, so,
and you don't even have to do the products. You can put the idea out there, and then if you create a waiting list, then make the products. So, and also, I just had an idea, a thought about Airbnb. They did actually solve their own pain because they started off as couch surfing, didn't they? Yes. So that's how it all started off, because they would like just go somewhere, perhaps for a festival or something, and couch surf at somebody's house. So then they thought, well, why haven't we got a network where we can couch surf at different places? And that's how it all started. So they had solved their own pain, and of course many other people's pains that were there. I said they were students at the time. So and Airbnb, if you're listening, if I've got that wrong, please do correct me. But I believe that's how it all started.
It's a crucial point that you're making, that if we experience this pain, it seems like it makes it so much easier, because in my case, I'm not sure that because you see, people come to me as a communication expert.
Oh,
we have
a question. Does Airbnb make revenue?
We don't know, man.
Well, they make revenue. I don't know what their profits are.
I mean, he means are they break even? Have no clue. We can.
It's going to be a chat about Airbnb now. There you go. You need to get Airbnb on.
No, I'm asking ChatGPT. Airbnb makes profit? Yes, Airbnb is a profitable company. According to financial statements, Airbnb had an income of $219 million in 2020.
Oh, they make a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's actually interesting because it is they are most probably a company uh, filled with money, right? Inserted with a bunch of cash, and um, how do you feel if you had to share your dilute your stake in the company, but get investors on board? Have you ever done this, maybe, or maybe this is your current?
I have chatted to investors. Um, it's oh God, it's. I mean, I would definitely have. I mean, I have got an investor in the business, but that particular investor is a very, very close person, and we think alike, and our mission is the same. An outside investor, now I have spoken with outside investors, and there's been a lot of walls that I've hit with them.
Yeah.
So they could be wanting to do things that I don't want to take the business down that route. They are putting on a lot of demands which I weren't happy with. So at the moment, I would still absolutely listen to any investors and have the meetings with them, but they have to share my dream. They have to participate. I don't want an investor who just sits over there somewhere giving demands. I'd like an investor to take a real genuine interest in what we're trying to build, and you know, an investor that's there for the long term, not somebody that just wants to invest for a very short term and then take the money out. So yeah, so there's lots of things that I would want from an investor, and the right partnership, because I would love to have somebody who is not just an investor but is also a mentor as well. So somebody that has been in perhaps this type of business, that would be ideal. I know that that isn't always the case, but yeah, so I have a lot of
Yeah,
wants. I'm a bit fussy.
it's understandable, and I think, mm, guys, if you have some questions related to maybe UK hiring markets, social recruiting, or just anything that pops to your mind, we're going to be here for 5 more minutes. I wanted to. You said you wanted the ideal person would be the ideal investor would be your mentor. Do you like this concept that mentor is not a one-way street? It's actually two-way street. Like if you consider someone to be your mentor, they might as well consider you to be their mentor. That's the best relationship.
Yeah, peer to peer. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes. Yeah, because I've got a lot to bring to the table, and there will be skills that I will have that I can share. There will be skills that that investor will have that they can share with myself, and you know, they'll have more knowledge in different areas, and I'll have knowledge in other areas. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can see that mentor to mentor, and I always think that's really good within organizations as well, sort of having um, uh, I don't like to say older generation, younger generation, but sometimes there are an older generation that are not as digitally skilled
Yeah.
as the younger gen. I mean, they're digital natives, they've been born into it and they just do everything straight away. And they don't even have to sort of study a book to understand.
Yeah.
It's just there, it's just natural for them. So getting, you know, those two generations together to learn from each other, because the older generation will have, you know, the business leadership skills, hopefully, and the younger generation have got those digital skills that they can bring into the organization.
We got a question from Tatiana. You were on her podcast as myself. She asks, how has Brexit affected the UK job market?
Right, okay. So, Brexit, we had a lot of people leave the UK because of Brexit, and that then has left a very big void to fill. So there are certain industries that have really, really struggled to get people to work for them. Like hospitality is like one. Seasonal industries are sort of like farming when they need seasonal staff. That's another one. There are. Oh God, it has been a struggle. Brexit. I know there are people out there that thought Brexit was a good thing. I really don't think it was. But yeah, it has put a huge struggle onto the job market. There's employers still struggling to hire talent because of Brexit.
It's the employer's market, right? I mean, not enough demand. I mean, the demand is there, the supply is not there.
So at the moment, it's still an employee's moment in the UK. However, because of what's happening here in the UK, the cost of living crisis, people coming back to the workforce, there is a little bit of a tip that there are and there will be more people available for jobs. But Brexit did sort of like put a big dent in it. So it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
In the same vein, does I don't want to talk about politics too much, but I mean,
no, I hate it.
Do borders open more because UK historically hasn't been a super. I mean, it's been welcoming for Ukrainians, but you understand where I'm coming from. You always been kind of a territory. It's not uneasy to enter and stay. So with even having a scarcity of labor force, that still haven't changed? You still want to hire British people exclusively, no immigrants whatsoever?
Oh no, that's not the case. No.
The case?
No. So with Job Hop, it's all about keeping talent in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. So wherever that talent comes from, you know, if they're in the UK, that's UK talents. With the Job Hop platform, what I don't want is for our organisations here in the UK to really miss a trick on not being the preferred employers, and then people who are here decide to go somewhere else to work. Okay. So they may go to Lisbon, they may go to Berlin, they may go to Paris. Why, when there's something just very, very easy to do, well, you know, change isn't easy, but if they embrace change and they really work on the company culture, then make sure that it's not a toxic environment, deliver great training, look after their employees, look after their mental health, and give them career progression and give them the ability to hop to new experiences within your organization, then hopefully if somebody offers one of our UK talent a job in Berlin, they'll go, no, we're happy here. We don't want to go there. So that's what we
feel the same way here in Ukraine, and we want people to stay in Ukraine. But obviously, because of the war, ongoing war, a lot of Ukrainians are leaving and not coming back. And we have a question in this relation from Igor. How the war have affected willingness of foreign companies in the UK to hire Ukrainians specifically? Have you heard of Ukrainians being hired
Yes.
massively, or at least
Yeah,
and which
the
positions?
there's
Tactical
oh
or
yeah, I mean there are many positions, but there have been, and I don't know exactly who, so don't ask me what companies, but I do know a lot of companies have got together to really sort of help anybody coming over from Ukraine and to help them into employment here in the UK. So there's a lot of that. One, because we need, you know, good talents here in the UK. So if somebody from Ukraine comes over and they're skilled, then there's so much help for them. And I do know lots of organisations have got together to put on that help. So I mean,
yeah,
I
but
can find
it's
out
the
some links
skilled
for
part.
you.
The skilled part is tricky because in addition to the skills, the technical so-called hard skill, they need to possess obviously the English language knowledge to an extent, communication to communicate, right? That makes it
To an
difficult.
extent, because I know many people that have moved here that have picked up English very, very quickly, which I find amazing because I think it's quite a difficult language. So I wouldn't say let that be a barrier,
All right.
because if you are somebody who wants to work hard, who is somebody that is willing to learn, then I don't think you would have too many challenges. I wouldn't let language be a barrier. I'm just trying to have a look to see here. We've got a list of needed professionals here in the UK. Have you got that list?
Did you just change? Did you send it to me right now?
No, I'm just hold on. No, workers.
Well,
It's just been updated, I think.
I actually have a friend. I mean, I got one friend. He lives under Manchester, somewhere in a small city, and he says that the
Did you
deliver.
say Manchester was a small city?
No, no, somewhere. No, no, Manchester, not a small city by any stretch of imagination. Somewhere in the uptown or whatever, near to Manchester,
Yes.
and he says that the delivery service, I mean, the only job that you can get there is delivery. It's like big in the UK, deliver,
Yeah.
but that's
So,
not like that, not the
no,
skilled
but
job that you're
care.
talking
So,
about.
where are they? So here we have them. So, uh, anything in the care industry. So care workers, anything sort of within the public health services are desperately needed.
Mhm.
Then they've got,
Nanny, housewife. I mean,
oh,
yeah,
it's not a house.
nannies.
So you must not say housewives over here in the UK.
Yeah,
So of course, engineers. Engineers are always needed here in the UK. Um, Anything to do with web development and IT programmers. Um, just trying to
that's an
find.
old good good story where all the entire external world needs our programmers. That's not new news. Nothing
Yes,
new about
yes.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, graphic designers. Yeah, all loads and loads. Care workers are desperately needed. So yeah, I think they just updated the whole list. So I mean, yeah, so there's a UK list of shortage. It's called, I think it's called the shortage occupations list in the UK.
And but to conclude this list, it speaks to the necessity of specifically people doing things with their hands, basically. Key for them because they're not communicating that much. Let's be honest. That's where we can Ukrainians can fill the gap. Yeah. I understand. Okay. Well, that was super productive, guys. Thank you for your questions. I think we've had more than, I don't know, more and more people are joining. It seems like we don't want to finish this, but
How funny. As I'm going, everybody joins. That's
yeah.
saying something, isn't it?
You see, communication to me is, I think I owe like my entire life, like my superpower has been communication, and I came to realize this just recently. It's just people started to ask me like to share where I learned the language, right? And but what makes it difficult for me to become a communication coach is that English language is not my mother tongue, obviously. And when I see a guy who's, I saw a dude recently who helps senior software developing companies, executives. Like we have a lot of companies that outsource software development services to the world. And he works with founders and CEOs, help them to understand American customers and demystify American business language. And this is where my imposter syndrome kicks in, and I think to myself, like, why in the world will this Ukrainian executive, choose me over an American who understands American culture? I'm not sure if you can give me an answer here, or if you can comfort me here, but what do you think do you think follow this passion of mine and just go for it, regardless of what the market response is? Or but I'm really passionate about it. I think I'm really ready to do that without even any pay, you know?
Yes. So if you are passionate about it, then it would be a shame not to pursue that passion. And the imposter syndrome that you are feeling, I believe that you won't feel an imposter the more times you do it. So the more times you do it, you'll build confidence. And I always say, people say, oh, practice makes perfect, but it's not. Practice makes progress. So you progress all the time. And one day you will think, but actually, I feel okay doing this.
I know
because
something.
because everyone starts off like low down, and we have to like learn and learn. I'm still learning, everybody's still learning. We have to learn and learn and learn, and gradually we start shaking off that imposter syndrome because we're feeling more confident in what we're saying and what we are putting out there, and what we're advising others to do. So, before it may be we've read it in a book, and then we tell somebody what they should be doing, and then we're feeling, oh my God, I've just read that from a book.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, so
You've read the book.
If you can apply the lesson, our brain works in some mysterious ways. Well, mine for sure. I mean, like sometimes I can recall and just put out the information that I heard years ago. And I mean, it's not like, in Ukraine, we have this stigma, like coaches and mentors, they're sort of perceived in a really shady light,
Really?
like they're it's not like like a respected professional. It's like shady, like you're almost a thief or something, like you're trying to cheat. And that's the perception that I'm fighting through. Why I didn't start it earlier, because I had to fight through this perception.
Yes.
And now I realize, like, hey, first of all, I did build the business. If you wanna point fingers, go look at what I built. All right. But even if I did not, we always have this question, like, why is this guy teaching how to go earn a million, or how to go land investments and not doing it himself. Like why he isn't putting his mouth where money where his mouth is, right? To use expression. Guess what? Because he doesn't want to. Because it's his choice. He's in the service business, and I realized that I'm also in the service business. I like to inspire people, I like to help people, but I'm too lazy and inconsistent to do this on my own, and that's perfectly fine.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you found your passion, then that's great. You do have to, because at the end of the day, we love giving away knowledge for free, and hopefully that inspires somebody to then go and create something. You do, and I do, we all do need to make some money as well.
Yeah.
So then you have to think, right, well, how can I turn this passion of mine, still being able to give all my knowledge away, but also to make some money from it as well. So
but this is a
you're going to
slippery
have
slope.
to brainstorm that.
It's a slippery slope of how to. But again, I think you addressed this earlier. If people watch, follow us, and they understand that at some point this guy is going to offer something. It can it won't last for free forever, right? So I think no one's gonna take any offense to. Yeah,
no,
thank you
but
for
also
this.
somebody may be watching this. Somebody may be watching this and think, well, you're the person that they want as their consultants. Because if you keep, as I said, if you keep showing up and you're consistent, people get to know you, they'll become familiar with you. And when it comes to the time that they want somebody as their consultant, why would they go with anybody else? Because they've watched all your videos, they've watched your live Instagram videos. So they are now familiar with you, and they trust you. So there's a lot to say for being consistent and keep showing up.
Yeah. I think that's a great note to end this discussion. That was really fruitful, Julie. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
This video will be, recording will be available here, guys. If you haven't seen it and just joined, you can check it later. And Julie, thank you. Have a great evening in, where are you, by the way?
In Norwich, in the UK. Yeah,
right.
yeah. Norwich, yeah. Norfolk, yeah. It's a lovely little place.
All right.
And that is a little city. Norwich is a little city.
It's a little,
yeah.
Okay, little cozy one.
It's lovely.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great evening. Bye.